Hello fellow Dicers, today I'm taking a look at Vessel of Hatred, the new expansion for Diablo 4. The expansion actually released on the 8th of October, and I've had a bit of time in it. I'm not going to say I've had a huge amount of time, but I have played the new class, the Spiritborn, and I have noticed an interesting thing with my favourite class, both of which we're going to delve into today. So first things first, let's take a look at some gameplay with the Spiritborn class. Now, when this expansion was first announced and they kind of gave a quick overview of the Spiritborn class, when I saw the first gameplay, I instantly thought, that looks just like the monk from Diablo 3. Now, if you liked the monk from Diablo 3, you're not going to be disappointed, because this is indeed very similar to the monk from Diablo 3. I was not a fan of the monk, so it was a little disappointing to find that out. I thought it was going to be a cross between the monk and the Druid from the original game, and maybe you could say it is, but it definitely plays more like the monk. Now, I was hoping, if I'm being honest, for something along the lines of the Crusader or the Paladin. The reason I was hoping for that is currently, well, I say currently, previously in Diablo 4, you already had three, what I would consider, how do I put this, squishier classes. You had the Sorcerer, you had the Necromancer, and you also had the, oh, now it's gone out, the Rogue. I remember, the Rogue. Three relatively squishy classes. Well, I was looking more tanky, and currently, or previously I should say, I can't get that around my head at the moment. Previously you had the Druid and the Barbarian were kind of the more beefy classes, the ones that would just wade in there and get stuck in. I was hoping for a Crusader, so you would have more of a tanky build, especially as this is running more into the MMO field, where you can do these big boss fights, and you can basically interact with each other and have more of a team effect. In that, I would like to have seen healers and tanks and things like that that can draw the ire of the enemy away from the casters. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. We basically got another relatively squishy caster. That being said, you can see on the screen at the moment that I decided to respec my character. Now, it's obviously a new class, so I don't tend to look at meta builds at all, simply because I find them all built around PC, and a lot of them don't work properly on console because they rely on very quick teleporting or jumping or directional movement. So, for example, you need to be able to get in and out of combat extremely quickly so you don't die. Getting into combat isn't hard because of auto-targeting on console. Getting out of combat, however, is usually quite a lot harder because we don't have a method of pinpointing a specific part on the screen to jump to or teleport to or whatever it might be. So I tend to make my own builds. They're never what I would consider top tier builds, simply because I don't have the time, or if I'm being honest, the inclination to look into every single point of data for a game. I play builds that are fun, and I do usually find high impact play styles fun. So for example, I like playing Druid with the electricity, and I like playing Druid with earth skills and the werebear skills. I'm not a huge fan of playing Druid with werewolf. I have played it. I played the Stormfang build once, or Stormclaw build once, but it wasn't my favourite playstyle. That being said, I tried the Gorilla path on the Spiritborn. Now, you basically get 4 spirits to start. They're the different spirits that are aligned to your skills. So Gorilla is all about heavy impact and evidently slow attacks, which really came through. It was painfully slow, didn't do much damage, and just to me was overly cumbersome. Now I switched to the Panther Spirit. All of the skills were Panther. Straight away they switched to a fire element rather than earth element, and you can see from the screen the difference, because the first set of gameplay that I was showing was the Gorilla and this is the Panther. Now of course you can mix and match, so you can pick the skills which match your playstyle, but I just normally go all in one of the different aspects. So for my Druids I usually go all Storm skills, or I will go all Werebear or Werewolf skills, or all Companion skills. With Sorcerer, in Diablo 2 I always used to go all Ice skills. That's the way I play, and that's the way I find it fun to stick with one element, because in my mind, when you're mastering something, you stick with the same type of ability. And Fire or Panther or Gorilla, whatever it might be, would be that type of ability. But you can mix and match, and I possibly will start trying to do that, trying to change things up. But just from a general gameplay perspective, the Panther skills were 100 times more fun. I wouldn't say they are more fun than my Druid skills. I still prefer the Druid, but I have only had a short amount of time with the Spiritborn. Literally just recording this video. It's the only time I was using those skills. So obviously I've shown a lot of gameplay and some of the skills for the Spiritborn, especially when I was remapping my skills. So let's take a look at something that has changed with my favourite class, the Druid, and this was something that I don't believe was actually advertised. So jumping into my newly created Vessel of Hatred Druid, we can straight away see there's a new skill, Stone Burst. Now this is something that just appeared out of nowhere. I literally only found it because I started a new Druid. I had jumped in with my old characters to find, again, all of my old equipment is completely pointless and useless, so we will go into that shortly. But basically I just played the characters, realised I had no Paragon anymore, because you need to get to level 60 before Paragon is active. Again, we'll go into that. So I just made a new Druid. But yeah, this skill was there in the core skill section. So I thought, let's give that a go. I'll move away from what I normally stick with. Now this is a channeled skill, and the longer you hold the button down, the more damage it does. It takes a bit of getting used to, because you can't move it once you start, but you can literally pulse the button, so you don't have to hold it, and all it does is it basically drops rock out of the floor and very quickly releases it. The longer you hold it, the more damage it does, as I say, so it does pay to hold it for a long time. It does slow things down within its sphere of effect, and I'm guessing there are going to be some unique or at least legendary abilities which take effect and change that skill somewhat, and I am interested to see what those are. Now that is the only addition to the Druid's armory, I suppose. Well, sorry, that's not exactly true. There is one other addition, and it is your key passives. There is now a key passive for summoners. So anyone who likes to use a lot of companions, you now have a key passive specifically for your companion skills. Personally, I do not think it's good enough. The key passive literally gives you 60% extra damage to your summons, and each of your summons has one additional companion. So if you normally summon 3 wolves, you'll get 4, for example. If you normally summon 1 raven, you will get 2, etc, etc. But they do 60% more damage. So in theory, you should be able to make a relatively viable summoning build. I'm still not convinced by that, because I personally think that the amount of damage that your companions do is negligible at best, and even with 60% increase, I don't think it actually makes a difference compared to having a better weapon and better skills. If your companion damage scaled from your equipped weapon, that would be a difference. Currently it doesn't. They are all based on the skill level and skill level only, which I think is a problem. But at least we now have one, so if you do like your summons, you can now have a key passive which is linked to them. Now, the season started at exactly the same time. It started with the release of Vessel of Hatred, and I have done a few things, so we won't go too much into that, to be fair. But I just thought it was interesting that they have released changes to an existing class. I have only checked the Druid because I do not have and have not had any of the other classes apart from Barbarian previously. But I might just have a look at some of the others, and if they have got changes, then I will possibly do another video to talk about those. Depending on how this video does, I might do some more videos on Diablo as I do get further into the expansion. But suffice to say, for this video, I just stuck in the area that I'm used to. Apart from my Spiritborn gameplay, which was in some of the new area, but very close to the beginning of that section of the new campaign. Now, I want to talk about something I mentioned previously, and that is the fact that Paragon system has changed. So, if I jump to a much further along character, Njal, who you'll probably remember from my original Diablo 4 videos, let's take a look at him as he stands now. So, hello Njal. This is my lightning build, and still have all of your spirits the same. You still have the skills that are the same in general, but a lot of them now have these extra links between them. This is only on pre-existing classes, so it's not on the Spiritborn, but you do have links in some of the areas. That one was already there, but you now have this link in this section here, and down here as well. You have some here, which I'm not quite sure what the links mean. It's not really that well explained, but as I mentioned previously, we have this skill here, One with Nature. So this is your companion key passive, which was sneakily added. I don't remember seeing that in any of the, I'm going to say propaganda, that's not what I mean, but any of the pre-marketing. It was probably hidden away in patch notes or whatever, but I think that's a bit of a change to add in new skills to an existing character. It's good that you can respec at any time in this game. But nothing else really appears to have changed, apart from additional links to some skills, and, like I say, 2 additional skills. Now what we do have is we have Paragon level 60 above the thing. The tree. I'm really struggling today. Now, as you can see, I have 1 point available. Now, bearing in mind this was a maxed out character, level 100. And I say level 100 because it had maxed its Paragon as well. Now, they've changed it completely. You can see under my level it says 201. So your Paragon level is actually maxed and matched to all of your characters that you have. So if you have all of your characters at Paragon 50 originally, all of those will be added together. So you will have 200 Paragon if you've got 4 characters, etc, etc. Now I've got 201, which I'm not quite sure about, but however it works, I don't know. But that basically means as soon as I get to level 60, I'll switch to my Paragon tree, and then I'll have 201 points to put into something. Very similar to the Diablo 3 system, I believe. But I will probably do another video to explain exactly how that's going to work when I get there. Which basically means I'm either going to have to really push on my new characters, or I'm going to have to try and level up my old, what I considered level 100 characters. And strangely enough, on the logging in screen, they are still listed as level 100 characters, but go figure, not quite sure how that works. But there we go. That is realistically all there is to say. I'm going to leave it there then. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure you do click the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and make sure you do click the bell icon so you're notified of any upload. And I look forward to seeing you for my next video very soon. You all take care. Bye for now.